Hello and welcome to my poker channel. In this episode, I play a cash game session. Let's jump into the action. In this one, the $5 button straddle is on, the small blind folds, and I make it 20 bucks to go. The button is the only player to make the call. We go heads up to a flop of 8-6 queen with 2 spades, and I've got 7-6 of hearts. Flopping bottom pair here, I don't feel the need to bet at this point. I check to see what my opponent does, and they check back. The turn comes the 5 of hearts, giving me an open-ended straight draw to go along with my pair. I think this gives me the option to bet and get value from a spade flush draw or a hand like Jack 10, and I can start applying pressure on hands that check back the flop like a weak queen or pocket 9s or 10s. I bet 35 bucks and the button calls. To the river we go. It's the 9 of hearts giving me the straight, let's freaking go. Of all the hands previously mentioned, Jack 10 is the only one I lose to. I can, however, get a ton of value from my opponent's other possible holdings such as a queen, 9s that made a set, or pocket 10s, especially because my opponent will almost never put me on the 7. For that reason, I decide to bet 125 bucks, slightly over pot, and after thinking for a little bit, my opponent calls. I table my straight and it's good. I pick up the pot, nice start to the session. In this hand, there's an under the gun one open to 10 bucks, and I look down at a couple of ladies in the hijack. I 3-bet to 35, action folds to the small blind who 4-bets to 105. Under the gun one folds and it's back on me. Small blind started the hand with about 300 bucks. I go for the straightforward 5-bet all in, and the small blind pretty much snap calls. They ask if I want to run it multiple times, and after losing to some pretty silly hands in the past, I've come to the decision to always run it once for max pain, so that's what I tell them, one time. Let's go to a run out. The flop comes 6-9 jack, and the small blind says, I got there. So it's safe to assume they've got pocket jacks, and I'm now a massive underdog to win this hand. I stare at the board disgusted as the turn comes the 8 of diamonds. I do pick up a few more outs as I can now make a straight with any 10. The river is a 10. Let's freaking go. Back from the dead, baby. I show my straight and the small blind does show pocket jacks. God damn, this one feels good. I rake in a pot of over 600 bucks. The small blind is like, you're number one, which is very nice of them. On to the next one. In this hand, we're playing Drawmaha 49, a game you should be somewhat familiar with if you watched some of my previous videos, but I still like to give a little recap to those new to the game. It's a split pot game in which we're all getting dealt 5 cards. We're using 2 to make the best Omaha hand on the board to win 1/2 of the pot, and we're trying to get as close to 49 by adding the numerical values of our cards for the other half. After the flop, there is a round of betting, after which we can draw up to 3 cards. Hopefully that makes sense. If not, follow along and I'm sure you'll get it. So we're playing a $3 bomb pot, meaning all 6 of us see a flop of Deuce, King, 10, Rainbow, and I look down at King, Queen, Jack, 10, 10. I flop a set of 10s, and my count is currently 20 as I have 2 10s and face cards are worth 0. The big blind bets full pot for 18 bucks, under the gun calls, cutoff calls. I could make a case for raising here, but I've been punting a lot in mixed game recently, so I decide to just call and reevaluate on the turn. Now comes draw time. The big blind stands pat, meaning they don't draw any cards, so they probably have a good count in their hand. Under the gun draws 1, cutoff draws 3, I'm going to hold on to my 10s and draw 3. The dealer flips over the turn, which comes to 6 of diamonds. The big blind bets pot again for 90 bucks. I draw a king, 8, and a 3, bringing my hand count to 31, which is a decent count, but unlikely to win against the big blind who stood pat. I know I have the best hand on the board though, as I threw away a king and drew 1, so no one can have a set of kings. I'm never quite sure what the best move is when it gets to heads up, but in this spot, I decide to repot it to 270 to protect my set of 10s versus flush draws, even though the big blind will never fold after standing pat. So yeah, it's a weird spot where I would hate to just call and get outdrawn on the river, but on the other hand, my opponent will always call, so in the end I feel like I'm giving them a free roll to win the whole pot. Anyway, they make the call, the river comes to 9 of hearts, my set of 10s is good, and the big blind had a count of 35, so we're going to chop this one up. Back to the hold'em streets in this one, under the gun straddles to 10, I raise to 35 bucks from middle position, the small blind calls and the straddler comes along, I've got ace king suited. The flop comes 5 king 10 rainbow, and the small blind donk leads for 35 bucks. Under the gun makes the call and action is on me. I'm not entirely sure what to do after a lead and a call on this relatively dry board. I could be up against the worst king, a queen jack straight draw, or I could be up against a set of 10s or 5s or maybe king 10. For that reason, I decide to just call and see what develops. The turn comes the ace of clubs giving me top 2, and now the small blind leads again and they go all in for 47 bucks. A pretty small bet in comparison to the pot. I'm surprised to see under the gun fold, and when action gets to me, I have a pretty easy call. The small blind shows ace 10 for a worst 2 pair, so I have them completely crushed. Only a 10 will give them the win. The river is an 8. I rake in another nice pot. The small blind is super happy for me. They're also like, you're number one, which is just adorable. Super grateful to be a part of this community. On to the next one. Last hand for this vlog, keeping things short and sweet here. In this one, we're playing one of the more popular variations of Hold'em, Crazy Pineapple. Everybody gets dealt 3 cards. We play regular Texas Hold'em, and every player still in the hand after the flop has to discard 1 card from their hand. This is a $3 bump pot, so 9 of us see a flop of King 10 7 all spades, and I pick up Ace Queen 6 with 2 spades. Oh! I flop the nuts. Action checks to me, and I'm not going to waste any time. I'm gonna get mine. I bet 20 bucks. I get 2 calls from the hijack and the button, and then the big blind raises all in for 157. I make the call, hijack gets out of the way, and the button puts their last 32 bucks in the middle. Time to discard. Easy choice, obviously. I get rid of the queen. We decide to show our cards. The big blind has queen 4 of spades for a worse flush, and the button shows pocket kings, so I still have to dodge the board pairing if I want to scoop this entire pot. The turn is the 8 of hearts. The button pleads with the poker gods to pair the board. The river is the ace of diamonds, and I once again win a very nice pot. That's it for today. I bought in for 400 bucks, and in less than 3 hours, I cash out for 1,200. My biggest cash game win since starting the vlog. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, don't forget to quickly smash that like button. It really helps grow the channel. And if you don't want to miss any of my videos, make sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell. Thank you so much for watching. Good luck at the tables, and catch you in the next one.